Hey guys, Chris here at Gratitudespace Radio. I'm here with a couple friends. We got our Gratitude and Sobriety series going. Hey Curtis, buddy, you want to say hi and introduce your new friend to us?
Yeah, definitely. Well, he's a new friend to the show, not a new friend to me. For people that are listening to the podcast, my name's Curtis Cockrell, per usual, as always. That's always my name. And we today I got my dear friend and very, very amazing and accomplished musician, Duane Betts, on the show. Duane, thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. Good to see y'all.
Yeah, dude, I really appreciate your time. And we just kind of like, it's the name, hence the name Gratitude and Sobriety. We just kind of like shoot the shit about what we're grateful for in sobriety now versus like, kind of like what we've become grateful for and what we're, why we're grateful for it, as we become as men in sobriety, as we like experience this, this new life that we didn't have before, and just like where we've come from, and fucking, it's pretty much open game to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And Duane's a founding member of Allman Betts Band, which a lot of you that are listening, I'm sure you recognize the name, and we'll just kind of get the ball rolling from here. How's everybody doing today? How you doing?
Great. I'm feeling great, man. I'm having a cup of coffee, man, on the East Coast. So it's getting close to my bedtime. I go to bed at like 9:00, but, no, man, I'm just really happy to be here. I'm happy that you reached out. I'm extremely grateful to be spending time with my family, my dad, my stepmom, and, I have my dog down here with me, and things are really, really beautiful. I mean, I have like stresses. Obviously, I tend to stress out about things. I mean, we all have stress in our lives, obviously, but I think maybe I tend to stress on things a little bit more than I need to. But like last night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I have a lot going on. When you have like a lot of exciting stuff, that's
I woke up in the middle of the night and
was that my voice I just heard?
No, my phone just turned on.
Oh, okay.
You woke up in the middle of the night. We're with you, buddy.
Woke up in the middle of the night. And anyway, I was just saying I couldn't sleep. I woke up and I couldn't sleep, and I was my mind was racing. I was worried about stuff, and I just was like, just focus on how, really how lucky, how fortunate you are, and then that kind of like whatever you're worrying about, or you have anxiety about a decision you have to make, or what you got to do, a deadline or whatever, that stuff goes to this, that stuff gets pushed away if you're in gratitude. But I don't know. I have a lot to learn. I mean, I'm not very good at it, but I mean, I try to practice it.
Well, that makes, I mean, that's the thing, the practice, like you said, it's just, it's almost like flexing a muscle, like you said, it's like, we obviously always get caught in our heads about everything, like you're saying, because there's always so much stuff going on. But if we get in a stressful situation, like you're waking up, and you got a million things going, if you can think enough to ground yourself in gratitude just for a moment, can give you the peace possibly to go back to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't even like I couldn't sleep because I was worried to death about everything. It wasn't like that. I was like, excited, but
right.
I also was like, and probably I went to sleep too early, and I just woke up, and my sleeping pattern has been a little off, and I just couldn't go back to sleep. But yeah, that's the idea of it. That's the general idea.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, you're saying you're waking up and you're excited, so that's something to be grateful for right there.
Oh yeah,
even the flip side, right?
Yeah, I mean, even when everything's good, it's like sometimes, I don't know if it's the addictive think like the nature of being an addict, but like if I'm like, man, things are so like perfect right now, and it's like if it's like a 10 and I'm feeling like it's a 9, and I'm like, what's keeping me from feeling like that euphoric like 10 feeling, like everything's so good, and then I'm like, fuck, like, excuse my language, but
That's
like
okay.
why am I at a 8.5 and not a 10? I mean, I don't have, like, what's bothering me, like, so I'm always looking for like that, sometimes it's like if there's something going on that then you have, actually, if you have a problem. I mean, I'm like really lucky. I mean, I'm really fortunate. I've been through a lot, as we all have, with addiction and with whatever, I had Hodgkin's disease when I was like 18 and had to go through some radiation treatment, and of course my prognosis was good because you have a really high cure rate on that, and they caught it early, but it still was like heavy, but
Sure.
but yeah, I mean, I really, when I see people that, I mean, I really don't have any problems, and it's good to remember that,
Oh yeah, I mean, I read this book called Endurance recently. It's about Shackleton's Antarctic exploration back in the early 1900s, and they got stuck in the middle of Antarctica. The boat got stuck. This is a real story, right? This is true story. And they were stuck there. They had to abandon the boat, and then they were, I think, 2,000 miles from an actual island that they could actually live on. So the funny thing is I was on a podcast with a guy, so you'll appreciate this, Duane. There's a guy named Thor who's in Hong Kong, okay? He's been traveling the world the last 7 years his project is, I'm going to go to every country in the world without using a plane.
Wow.
So get this, right? 7 years, right? So he has 9 countries left, and he gets quarantined in Hong Kong.
Wow.
So I'm on the phone with him, and he's like, I'm stuck here, and I've been everywhere in the world. But he's like, this person told me to read Endurance, because you read that and you realize I ain't got problems. You know what I mean? You're thinking about these guys like in the middle of Antarctica, the early 1900s, was literally like, how are we? The boat they're on is breaking up in the middle of Antarctica, and they're 2,000. You know what I mean? Like they've got dogs and supplies, and like they got perspective. It comes back, like, perspective is key, right? Tell us perspective. So you say, like, obviously the 3 of us are sitting in air conditioned rooms. We've all eaten today, right? We have running water, right? So, our complaint structure is like there's what is it? It's 2/3 of the world does not have you know what I mean? Like these basic necessities we wake up with. Like
it's all relative,
Yeah.
I mean, people's problems are different. It doesn't,
Right.
it doesn't mean that, you can't have any,
of course,
problems, but it's just, it's crazy to think of how much we have, and how much other people don't have. So
yeah, it's this perspective, right? I think perspectives has helped me sit back a little bit when I start to get carried away and worry,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because obviously it's all emotional, right? It's all emotion based, and it's your body and everything, right? So at that point, it's like, obviously, if your mind, you can twist your mind any which direction, right? To get away from the worry, to think about something else, to redirect, whatever that is going to allow your body to, your breath will calm down. You'll feel a little better about your, just your being, So I'm not even speaking to people that don't have running. People have less than us, and it's the same physical kind of process, right? It's always our bodies are reacting to our minds and our physicality, and then what's in our power, right?
Yeah.
So it's
it's all connected. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not an easy game.
Breathe. Take a deep breath, breathe, and then all of a sudden everything changes, That's why I love doing yoga. I don't love waiting to do it, because my wife will like get up and literally like we'll have coffee, and then she'll get on the computer, and then she'll do this, and then And I'm like, man, we could have been done by now, and I could be high as a kite from my yoga class, you know. And when are we gonna do it? Like in a half hour, you know? So, but I've been doing some yoga lately, and that always grounds me and makes me feel amazing, you know, throughout the day.
For sure, man.
Try to do something like that.
Yeah. Get in touch
What
with
do
your
you
body.
do, Curtis?
Dude, this week my sleep has been completely fucked up, and it started with the full beaver moon. That's what it was called, right?
Oh, gnarly.
Chuckle every time I say that.
Okay.
That's what it was called. And that was on Monday night, I guess. And I didn't sleep at all that night. I fell asleep at like 6 o'clock in the morning. But today has been one of the best days I've had in months. I don't know why. I just felt really good. I felt rested, even though, again, I was up late last night. Maybe I'm just approaching that level of being delirious that I'm just kind of like fucking loopy and kind of like whatever, but I feel good. But as far as like maintaining my gratitude practice, I try to wake up in the morning and write a gratitude list and like connect with people, as far as like just kind of like reaching out to some friends in the 12-step fellowship, or sharing music with friends. I mean, Duane, I'm always sending you and Johnny music, and like that's kind of part of like the way I've stayed connected to a lot of people during the pandemic, is just like sharing music, because although I don't play, which that could change, because Kristen, my ex-wife, brought me a fucking guitar today, and she was like, "Hey, I gave you this for Christmas 12 years ago, and it's been in a box in my closet for." Actually, this is what happened. She called me this morning. She's like, "I've got a great idea." I'm like, "What is it?" And she's like, "You need to use this time to learn how to play the guitar." I'm like, "Okay." And then like about an hour later, she's like, "By the way, I found this guitar that I gave you for Christmas 12 years ago in our closet." And I think she just needed to get some shit out of her closet, and it was like a good segue into it. But she had to throw in, "And you better not hawk it like you did your engagement ring and the watch I gave you for the wedding."
Man.
Whoa.
We had a good laugh about
blow.
that. But dude, I sold that engagement ring for like $100 to go on Fish Tour in like 2012, just so I had gas money to get to the beginning of tour. And that's the kind of shit that I don't do anymore because I'm sober. I'm not like pawning like important stuff, even though we weren't married at that point. Still, like, you just don't fucking pawn jewelry like that.
Man.
Wow.
So we had a good laugh about that, and she might be listening now, and she's probably just like, she may not be. Sometimes
Laughing.
I think things are funnier than they are, that like maybe someone that cares about me might not think is too funny, but the conversation was funny, and we had a really good laugh about it. So
It's all funny. It's all funny now. But,
Oh yeah. It's funny now. Yeah.
So we had a good laugh about that, and I've got an acoustic guitar here that I'll probably attempt to learn how to play like a couple times and then put it back down, because I get so frustrated because I have zero patience for anything. But if I get my meditation practice back locked in, maybe I'll just wake up one day and be able to play the fucking guitar like Duane. There's no way I can do that, but still,
I was over playing guitar when I first. My dad put a guitar in my hands when I was really young, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted to play drums, so I was a drummer first. So I'm with you on that. It can be frustrating at the beginning, but
I'm just convinced, and I know that this is probably what a lot of people think. When I'm trying to like change chords, I'm like, I just don't know if my fingers work like a guitarist's fingers should. Maybe I should just stick to listening to music or like hanging out with musicians, you know?
Let's know a few chords, man. You bring that thing down here, man, and I'll,
There we go.
There's your excuse, okay? You teach him his major and his minor chords, okay? There you go. There you go. Right on, right?
Yeah, man, it takes a little learning, but you get used to it. Your fingers, you train your fingers, and then it's easy after a while. It gets easy. No biggie.
So
Yeah,
Duane and I met because of sobriety, and you know, I feel like you weren't sober yet when we met.
Where did we meet? We met with Paul, or
Yeah, we met with Paul. I think the first time we met, you were still playing with dolls, maybe. And we
Yeah.
like met at like a government mule show at the Fonda or something, maybe. And
that's
then
a possibility. That's a
yeah, and then I started kind of working with you guys through Paul, for just helping him out, and did worked with him when you guys did a show at when the Pistoliers did a show at North Mississippi All Stars at the Roxy. And
Oh
then
yeah.
I booked you guys for that show at YouTube leading up to the was it
Allman
birthday celebration, maybe?
Yeah, well, yeah, the Allman family revival. That was the first one. Yeah, I remember that well.
Yeah, you and I think you and Lisa were had y'all just started dating at that point?
Curtis, your mic just cut out, man.
Really?
I can hear him.
Or is that me? Can anybody else hear except me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Keep talking. I'll figure it out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Cool. Yeah, so, you know, I've been fortunate enough for the people that are listening and watching to, you know Duane in a professional capacity and as a dear friend. You know, you know, he always picks up the phone or the text when I reach out, and it means a lot. So that's kind of how we all get through this, as sober individuals. But back to my gratitude practice, it's just trying to always stay grateful, and just if I start spinning out, like jot down a quick gratitude list, or mainly it's I try to start my day that way. I used to carry a little mini, like a little pocket size 3-ring binder, or not a little pocket size notebook around. Pocket size 3-ring binder. That makes no fucking sense. But yeah, I just jot down shit I'm grateful for all the time. I've got a few friends that I do that we kind of got some running gratitude lists with, and when I'm talking to my my mentor in the 12-step fellowship program that I'm part of, we're always kind of like checking in on what we're grateful for that day, and just trying to stay present, which is a huge challenge for me, because I'm like, my mind is all over the place all the time, and gratitude is like the one way that I'm like able to really truly be present. One of a few ways. I could always do better at this stuff, as most of us could, but it's been really cool to do this podcast and like get to talk about it, and get to hear other people's practice, and kind of like come back to earth a little bit on Thursday nights or whenever it is, and kind of like really remember, like, okay, this is what I need to do to this is like, I need to put action behind this practice of gratitude. And last week was super cool. Our family was together, and we were all talking about what we're grateful for, and it was really, I was super grateful last week, because I think, Chris, we kind of talked about this leading up to Thanksgiving, like how to deal with sobriety over the holidays, because it's so triggering. And I think it was my sister, as we were all leaving, she was like, this has been like the most drama-free Thanksgiving we've had ever, like since we were all adults. And this is my 6th Thanksgiving sober. The first one, I was in Malibu, and we were reminded that my dad didn't come because we had such a bad experience with this 6-month checkup or family day thing that they do in rehab. A lot of times it's like you have these family weekends where your family comes in and you talk about what the progress, and like you usually your therapist and treatment team has you kind of like address some things with your family. And the first one that I had, the first one I had was inpatient, but the second one was in Santa Monica in September of 2015. And my family came out, my sister, my mom, and my dad, and it was a complete disaster. I wasn't ready to see them, and I was still super pissed, super aggro and paranoid and angry. And it ended up me just like storming out of a meeting that they had come out for and saying some really, really, really vile things to my family, who had flown across the country to see me and like planned all these nice dinners and had like, invited all my new sober friends into their space. And I was just a fucking asshole. So that was September. So the first Thanksgiving, my dad was like, I'm not coming to California to be treated like shit again. So he didn't come. So fast forward. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but
you started by saying that you had such a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it keeps getting better. Like the interactions with the family, although it's never going to be perfect. And like, families are complex systems, and we all there's egos involved and there's feelings. And what Duane and I were talking about, or maybe I think Duane and I were talking about this earlier, or I think Chris, anyway, what we were talking about was how for me, it's, my family, even though I've been sober almost 6 years, the time goes by much faster for me. For them, it's like there were 20 years of however many years of me being in the grips of it. And it's my mom's told me on several occasions that she's 6 years into it, just now starting to be able to work on herself after not freaking out, but just being hyper vigilant. And she's still got PTSD related to a lot of things that she went through with me. And what I'm saying is it's progress. We always I always strive to continue to make progress with my family and to continue to have it was awesome when my sister said that, and it was like, wow, this was pretty drama free. And usually the drama is me my dad and I bitching at each other for nothing, really, just because that's what we have done for so long. And our relationship has gotten so much better. So that was great. And I was super grateful for all that. So lots, infinite amounts of gratitude for that, infinite amounts of gratitude for how sobriety has continued to heal my family. And I'm sure Duane's experienced some of the same.
Yeah, man. Totally. I mean, I remember when things were much different than they are now. And, I mean, the love was always there, and I knew no one ever gave up on me. It was never like that, but it was kind of getting to the point. It was getting there, it was getting there. And, man, the difference is night and day. It couldn't be more of a stark difference. The vibe, it just feels good to just be, present and not have to worry about any of that, and not be looking for money or trying to borrow money or get somebody to trust me and front me something, or Man, like without getting too personal, I mean, when I lived down here, um, I kind of left on a bad note, and then I went and I went to to Los Angeles, to Malibu, to be exact. That's kind of always been my home away from home. I was born and raised here, and then I grew up there. I moved there when I was like 12, 13, and then my mom stayed there, so I was always back and forth a lot. But I went out there and pulled it together and had made a lot of progress, but I fell back into it, and then this time I think this time it's been over 4 years, and that's like,
That's awesome.
if somebody would have told me that, 5 years ago, I would have, I would have probably believed him, actually. I would have, because I knew where I was at. I was like, you know what? If I make it, if I can get clean and sober, I think that's where I need to be. Like, I know where I need to be in 4 or 5 years, and that's where I need to be. So it probably wouldn't shock me, but I if I have a bad day, I mean, every day I go to bed and put my head on my pillow and go to sleep. I mean, I don't care what happened. I mean, it feels so good. I mean, I love going to sleep every night, knowing that I got through another day. It's like, and it's not even like I got through it like, oh my God, like I got through the day. Like, it's not like that. I mean, I don't even think you know, about getting loaded, really. I mean, it's just not an option. But all the other stuff, like the just trying to be present and trying to be positive and trying to, deal with life without just numbing out and not dealing with it, and that being how you deal with it is not dealing with it. Um, you know, Doing this stuff and practicing the steps and all that. I mean, I I'd be lying if I said I was like really, um, I mean, I hadn't been to a meeting in a while, and I just started doing Zoom meetings. I was like, man, people are doing these Zoom meetings. I'm kind of a little irritable. Maybe I should try one, Uh, so I finally, I reached out, and I've been doing that the last few weeks, and that it's been really nice to reconnect with people, and especially because I'm not even in the city where like my men's group is or whatever. So because of the pandemic, everything's on Zoom, so I can go to the meeting. Whereas if it was the way it normally would be, I wouldn't be able to go. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of riffing here.
That's
But
good.
but yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like, you know, um, it just feels really good to be in a better place, I guess.
How's it been out on the road? This last string of shows you guys have been doing. How's it been playing to this new era of crowds that you're playing to? Like, what's it like? What's the vibe like?
Well, I mean, the vibe it's pretty strange sometimes. I mean, but no, I mean, when you're doing these shows, you don't want to see like people packed up in the front. I mean, you want to see it all spread out, and you want it to be weird, because then that means it's socially distant, But no, but some of them are way less weird. Like, so what I'm getting at is some of them, the energy, there's just a disconnect. There's people, but they're all spread out, and you're like hearing car horns from like the closest car horn is like 60 feet away, and or whatever. You can't even see where everything is. So yeah, is it strange? Some of them are more strange than others, but for the most part, they were all done like really well, and they were all a lot of fun, and it felt great to play. I mean, we actually, we just finished like, I don't know, it was like a week ago. I think I got home, maybe a little over a week ago, but we did like, I think 7 shows, and they were all outdoors pretty much. There was a couple indoors that were like 30 or 40% capacity, but most of them were outdoors and separated, So it's just, honestly, it was amazing to play again. I mean, we'd done a few over in August, and I think in September we did like a long weekend, like 3 drive-in shows, like each month, like 6 drive-in shows in 6 months, and then we did this. So we really were feeling really fortunate to be back out there. Actually, we did another run earlier than that. It was like in the South. So we did a couple of long weekends, and then we did a little run, and then we did this run. So, but hopefully it'll be back to normal, or not normal, but hopefully it'll be by the spring. Hopefully it'll be kind of opening up again,
Do you have any more shows for the rest of the year, or is everything next year for you?
We don't have any for the rest of the year. No. Mm-hmm. It's just too, it just doesn't feel right.
Right.
To go out there. Right. People are being told to keep their Thanksgivings to like their family, and then you're going out and playing for like, I don't know, it's just kind of, but anyway.
I mean, it's the right move. It sucks, but it's the right move. It's wild. LA is like gone to shelter in place again, essentially, from what I understand. So I'm just glad to, I miss LA a lot, and I've been fortunate enough to go back a few times in the past several months for like extended periods, but it's just not really that awesome of a place to be right now. They're saying that the hospitals are going to be at capacity by the end of, or over capacity, or they're not going to have any space by the end of the month.
Yeah.
But, again, I'm bringing it back to gratitude. I'm grateful that I haven't been sick yet, and I'll continue to be safe. And, as accountability to myself, I could always be safer than I've been, but I do my part to be safe, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm here with my dad, and it's like, I ain't playing no games, man. I ain't trying to get him sick. You know what I mean? Like I might be fine. You might be fine. I mean, we could have problems too. I'm not saying that it's like not a big deal if we got sick, but obviously the more vulnerable, folks, the older folks, and the people with the pre-existing, I mean, I'm not playing any games, man. I mean, my friend, we played a show on the last run. My friend was like going out and talking to people, and then like coming back, and I was like, and at the end of the night, I was like, I kind of gave him shit about it, and I could tell I kind of hurt his feelings, but I was like, I was serious, you know what I'm saying? And then I like texted him afterwards. I was like, man, I'm sorry I came down on you. I love you, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, man, it's a serious thing, man. We got to get through it so we can, so we can rage again, bro.
Exactly. For real.
Yeah, bro. Fish Tour 2021.
2022.
No engagement rings needed.
No. Maybe I should just get engaged between now and next fish tour, just so I can pawn the ring, so I can have gas money for
Totally.
tour. I'm just kidding. I'm definitely.
You know,
not
if you
gonna do that.
tell the woman that's the reason you're giving her the engagement ring, then if you could play that up where she knows in advance, that could be doable.
Yeah, it'd be like, I think we should get engaged, but in 8 months to a year and 8 months, I'm gonna need that ring back because I got to catch a ride to Cincinnati at some point.
Damn. I never had to pawn. I'll tell you, man. I pawned a few guitars in my time. I'm not really proud of it, but I got all of them back except one. But that's another story. But
Yeah,
when you're young and dumb,
exactly.
yeah.
Man. Yeah, I guess it's December now, which is insane. It's really weird. This year has flown by, but it also seems like at the same time that seems like March was 5 years ago. So it's strange. Time is weird, but I just like try to stay grateful and try to stay in my practice as far as like what works for me from a 12-step standpoint. And talking about Duane, you were mentioning Zoom and like warming up to it and not warming up to it. I was talking about it a few weeks ago on here, I think, and the closest I came to relapsing, probably the closest I've been relapsing in probably 5 years, was when this started. I was like, I don't like Zoom. Like, it's fucking lame. It doesn't work. Like, the connection's not there, whatever. And I also, like, I've been super fortunate to have my home group here meets outside, socially distanced, 5:30 Monday through Friday. So I've actually been able to go to in-person meetings safely for the duration up so far. And man, it was late one night and I was going through some shit and like some emotional turmoil, because like you were talking about, it's like the irritability just creeps back in if I don't dial into my program. And there was a bottle of vodka in the freezer over there that some friends of ours had left. And typically, like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, the obsession to drink and use alcohol and do drugs has been lifted from me for so long. Like, I can be around hard drugs. I can be around people drinking. Like, I still have plenty of friends that drink a lot and do a lot of drugs. I mean, it is what it is. So I can, that's not a big deal to me. But that night, like, there was some Tito's vodka or something in the freezer, and I had it was like 3:00 in the morning, and there was just some drama going on that was, most of it was my doing. And
the drama.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, it just seemed like a great idea. I was like, anything would feel better than the way I feel right now, including dealing with a relapse if I chug that bottle of vodka right now and whatever comes after that, which is a tear of whatever I could
do. Shitload of crack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were joking about. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about smoking crack? I can talk about smoking crack.
We only have 20 minutes left. Don't get started. Don't get them started. All
right. No.
I mean, your mom's here. Come on. Let's cut the crack stories tonight. Your mom's on.
What about smoking meth?
Okay, well that's a whole other thing.
Oh man, again, sorry, Mom. I know that kind of thing is like not as funny to you as it is to me, but I can't laugh about it. Yeah, it's Chris's fault. It's Chris's fault.
Yeah, I brought it up. I engaged in this call here, so it's totally me. I was thinking earlier, I was loving how you said, you get together with your friends and you kind of have a gratitude list. So I figured this is a good time for us to do the gratitude checklist, because because I have that there. So I'm going to start by asking Curtis just off the top of his head. I know we've been talking a lot, but just 3 things you're grateful for in this moment.
Music, health, and transportation.
Awesome. Duane, what about you, man? In this moment, what are 3 things that you're grateful for?
Family, health, and passion for art, like for what I do.
Awesome. Now I'm going to ask myself the question. So this morning, what I wrote in my journals, I got to see the sunrise this morning, and I loved it. It was so beautiful this morning, man. I was in perspective of thinking where I was living like 6 months ago, where I couldn't see the sunset, and being able to see it and the lights coming up, seeing it over the horizon. You know what I mean? Where it just continually reminds me like everything only happens once, And I was so happy I was there, right? I happened to be there to see it. Not only that, I've got good vision, so I'm going to go that. We'll say that's number 2, and I'm very grateful that I can see color. So those are 3 things that just kind of clicked this morning for me. So I appreciate you guys sharing all that. I feel like it's such a great thing if you're going to talk with friends. If you ask them what they're grateful for, it's just a really, really powerful thing to assist us just to be in a grateful state. So. I loved hearing both of you guys, what you shared, and health is a big thing too. All of it's big, and it all, just making the statement of it is a powerful thing, and it brings it forth. It allows you to focus a moment on that good, right? So thank you.
I think it should also be noted that somebody amongst the 3 of us got married in the last week, and it definitely wasn't me, and it wasn't Duane. So,
oh, you did! Congratulations!
Thanks, man. Yeah. Last Wednesday. It's been over a week. Sorry, so it was 8 days ago. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I had a really big week. My book got launched on Monday, so that allowed me to actually get out of that headspace so I could appreciate the wedding. Actually really focus on. So the book got up, and then the wedding, even in these times, like the wedding was perfect. I knew that it perfect in the sense I knew that it was going to be perfect. Not that everything was going to be perfect, but it itself, you know what I mean? It's like, you guys know what I mean, right? Obviously, I knew the parameters going in, and I was like, I knew that we were going to be there, and it was going to be beautiful, and that the right people were going to be there, and that at the last minute, the day before, I'll tell you, this is interesting because I finally had a conversation with my wife. Because she's from Colombia. So what happened was my laptop I'm using right now was part of the ceremony because she wanted to be able to look over and see her family and friends on the Zoom call. So that was the interesting thing. We were literally, you know what I mean? There was this thing where I could see her parents there and her friends. And it was really cool because there was total in the church. There were 12 of us. That's everybody. So I'm so just so fortunate to have my family, my dad, my brother-in-law married us. My friends helped with Rosio and, using you appreciate this, Duane. We're using Bluetooth speakers and Spotify for the music.
Yeah.
So. And then Zoom, I'll tell you it was funny, and then we can talk about something else. So the Zoom call, which was the master one going to Colombia, when everybody came in, their mics were off, but some of them turned them on. So, for instance, her dad somehow turned theirs on. So as soon as if you watch the video, which you're not going to watch it, obviously, as soon as they're like, now give your vows, he says something. So like the live feed cut to him where he's like sitting there with his he's sitting with his phone videotaping the computer because he just said something like it's coming, then it cuts back to me. And then when she kisses me, that was the best thing, right? She gave me this real passionate kiss, which all of her friends wrote later said, you're terrible. Like they were saying like, whoa, like you shouldn't be doing that in front of the kids. And like your parents were watching, right? So that's what they said, right? This is exactly what they said. And we watch it back through the Zoom, right? And as soon as she gets into it, there's just like this, and then it cuts to black because somebody said something. So you see a black frame with someone's name. It just had this. I'm glad people kept it on because it was like so not perfect. And it was so like real, and it was so funny watching it back because there's a moment like her mom, like it cuts to her dad. Her mom basically looks over and is like, "Shut up," and then it cuts back to us.
Because you guys were making out too hard.
Well, no, that was earlier. No, that wasn't the making out part. That was a different. It was just because again he kept his mic. Somehow he turned the mic on so that when he talked, if it was over us, it would cut to, like, you know what I mean. It was just one of the
like these awkward exchanges that like wouldn't be if you were like putting a collage together. It's not what you would have done. Like,
oh yeah, you would never. Yeah, that stuff would never show up. But there it is. That is the master like Zoom
I love
wedding.
it.
So
I get
finding the humor in it, right?
Totally. Yeah, that's great. It's funny.
Man, that's a trip.
Oh man. Yeah, that's great. So thanks for letting me talk about that and laugh about it and smile.
No,
about
man,
it.
that's
Yeah,
awesome. I got married a little over a year ago. We made it through a year, and
congratulations.
Yeah, it was an amazing year, you know. But yeah, I'm really grateful for her. She basically is like one of the best things to happen to me, you know. But
well, how did you meet her? Speak a little more of that. I want to hear what's her name. And
Curtis knows my wife, Lisa. I met her I was actually in treatment in sober living, and I went on a good friend of mine's family has a place in Jackson Hole, and I'd never been there, but I obviously had heard about it, and people I know had been there, and it's one of those places I just had never been, but heard about. He was pretty adamant that I needed to go, and he's like, man, you know, I'll pay for, you know, my family has a place there, I'll buy dinner, blah blah blah, you know, because I'm like in sober living. I'm like, well, I don't have any money, and blah blah blah, and so we go, and my buddy Brandon is really upfront. Like, he's pretty aggressive, I guess you'd say, like when he's like hitting on girls and stuff. So I get to the airport and I get to the gate. I fell behind him. I like had to do something. I was getting a breakfast sandwich or something. So I get to the gate and he's already like got the LA Times and he's talking to this young lady, and like, I don't know if you know my friend Brandon, but we call him Hollywood. He's actually from Kentucky, but he's
I met him for sure. Tall, skinny guy.
Yeah, and he's very, you know, he'll talk to you about music, about art, about architecture, you know, properties. You know, he's like he's like an international gentleman, but he a lot
international gentleman.
Taught me a lot about music, and he has really good taste, you know. Anyway, so we get to Jackson Hole. We land in Jackson at the airport on our way to where we're staying, and we stopped to get groceries. So we stopped at Aspen's Market, which is in Wilson, Wyoming, on the way to Jackson Hole Mountain Resort. And we're in the market, and we're looking around, and here's this young lady, quite attractive, and Brandon, you know, gives her, don't. Have we met? You know, have I met you? And I'm just like, oh man, okay, let's see what happens with this. And I'm just kind of like hanging back. Anyway, so we exchange numbers, like both parties, you know, like he kind of does the talking. And then she kind of like, you know, we were there for like a week or something like that. So it didn't happen right away, but we all got together for lunch a few days later. And then it just kind of progressed from there. You know, I mean, she brought her friend and we all hung out and, you know, had lunch. And then she and I kind of took it from there. It's like, sorry, dude, like she likes me. But no, I mean, he really couldn't have cared less. I mean, he obviously he cared, obviously, but he was happy for me is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And then we just kind of took it from there. And that was probably 2017, early 2017, maybe. So
I love that, man. I think this idea, I call it gratitude cube. So it's like when you start to think about where you're at, and if you're grateful where you're at, you can see all these things. You can look back, and I loved your story, right? So, for example, if you weren't going through that sober living situation, you never would have met Lisa. Straight up,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and then so not only think about if Brandon didn't go with you, right? So he wouldn't have brought up all these like little elements, right? Like
Yeah.
it's serendipitous, It's like you see these, you can look back and go, wow, like if we would have went to the market 30 minutes later, right? Or I don't even know, you know what I mean? Like she could have been on break, you know what I mean? Like these little things, these like that's just such a little thread that was happening there, right?
Shopping. Like she was just shopping there. She wasn't.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Right. So it's like if you would have been 30 minutes later, 5 minutes later, obviously you getting to that city, I love it so much because like my vows completely spoke to what I'm talking about now. I was in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and it took me, and I left Louisville to do it was a 12-day thing in New York for gratitude, and I didn't get home till 6 months later. I didn't have any plans to be in Mexico, any of that, right? But I was in Mexico living, and
you were living in Playa del Carmen.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I was living in Playa del Carmen. Yeah.
That's a cool place.
Oh yeah, man. I love it there, man.
I was just down in Tulum. I love Tulum.
Tulum's beautiful too. Yeah.
That's really cool. We were down there for that was for our anniversary, for our 1 year anniversary. And
nice.
We stayed at this place that was like, I mean, it was like rustic and like, not one of the, it wasn't $500 a night. But it was right on the beach. Like it was like, but it didn't have air conditioning. Like it was like, and it was basically, I mean, it was hot. It wasn't like how it is now there, which is still warm, but like not. I mean, it was like the first night we got there, it was like 90 plus like 85% humidity, and we're like, damn, man, we're really doing this. We're like really going rustic, It was really cool. It was really cool. I love that whole area.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What I was going to say is like, no, that's okay. Well, I mean, dude, freaking, I love Mexico.
I love that area. I've had really good experiences in Playa del Carmen and Tulum. I love.
Yeah, I want to go. Yeah, I could speak about Mexico and how much I love it. I could do an hour or two easily. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm with you. What I was going to say is, I ended up in Mexico, but the reason she was in Mexico is because like a week before she arrived in Mexico, her grandfather died. And she just, it was like, it hit her so hard that she just decided to go. So it was like a last minute trip. She decided to go. So you have somebody who lives in Colombia, right? That had no plans to be in Mexico. You have me initially leaving my home, and then here I am in Mexico, right? But then when she comes in, she turns on and starts using Tinder, and then we match. So there's a combination. What I was saying in my wedding vows was like the impossibility of us meeting, right? Like the sheer impossibility, right? Not only are neither one of us from Mexico or Playa del Carmen, but we both end up being in the same place, and then we end up connecting because of an app, just technology. Think about that. It's a year before, whatever, you know what I mean? Without the app, we don't meet. So you erase the fact of like a dating app, we don't even meet, right? But then we do meet. And then here 4 years later, here she is, and we got married last week. It's just it's magical. You know what I mean? A lot of crazy things had to happen for all of us to end up, and then everything from there. But just like your story, it's just like your story. If you hadn't, and I love that. The impossibility of you meeting Lisa if you hadn't had that addiction and gone through that situation to be who you are now.
And I think that just speaks to like energy in general, and how we're essentially always like where we're supposed to be, regardless of how hard of a pill that might be to swallow sometimes. From an energetic standpoint, like that's where the energy put you, and that's where you were supposed to be. You were supposed to meet Lisa that day. What's your wife's name?
Rocio.
You were supposed to meet Rocio that day. I was supposed to smoke crack that month. You know, who knows? Those
Oh
years.
man.
Don't smoke crack, kids. Don't smoke crack.
Yeah, that's not what he's saying. Yeah, that's not what he's saying here.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to, but it won't end well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's, I think obviously it's like you're there and you're supposed to be there, but then it's almost like the present moment. That's the thing about being present, right? We can tell you if you're not present, you can miss everything. So I could, you know what I mean? Like you could be wherever you're supposed to be, but if you're out of it, right? If you're literally out of it, you're not going to have that connection. Like you're not, if I would have just say, for example, that day I would have just been, I don't know, just drunk out of my mind, and she would have met me as this alcoholic guy, I'd seriously doubt she would have spent more time with me, even though I had no problem drinking, but again, right, if you're not in the moment, you could say you're in the moment, right? And this is where you're supposed to be, but if you're not present in that moment, you're going to have missed opportunities, or the connection's not going to happen. So there's a lot of magic going on. I don't know. So
yeah, my mom always says there are no accidents.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what she says. So I tend to think that there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, and as much as I like to joke about doing drugs, like I'm super it's like gives me a chance to reflect on, like, even when I'm talking about stuff like that with friends, it's like it's still hard for me to believe sometimes at this point that I was such a horrible drug addict, because I'm so far removed from that at this point. But still equally as close to my next relapse, ironically, or a relapse, not my next relapse. I plan to, if all goes according to plan, I will always be sober going forward. But I'm just super grateful that I don't have to live like that anymore, man. It's such a grind being a drug addict and alcoholic, and it's just like, it's good for me to remind myself sometimes of how bad it was, because it helps me to appreciate how good I have it now, that I'm not a slave to that shit anymore, man. Because I had given up on life, like I was done. I did not care to live anymore. I was just riding it out until I died. And by grace, I was able to get sober and have stayed sober since, because everything the doctors tell me, it's like, I don't, like, relapse is a part of a lot of people's story. It's just not, I don't have that luxury. So I'm really grateful to be sober, and that, we're able to have these conversations, and it is 6 years behind me. And like, I have really awesome sober support like Duane, and all my friends that are always so supportive. Like, and I really talk about that a lot, because I have such a huge, my friends are incredibly supportive to no end, and it means a lot. So yeah, I'm super grateful to be sober. I'm always grateful to be sober.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah.
Well said, Curtis. Yeah, man, like it kind of goes back to what I was saying, man, just the simple idea of putting your head on the pillow at the end of the day. Like, I might have had a little brief relapse of I might have snapped at my wife and then caught myself and apologized, or we might have had a little this or that, or maybe I was stressed out, or that, whatever was going on. But at the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, here we are. And I mean, I love getting another one under the belt, and waking up and facing another day. And like, sometimes I wake up and it's like, when I go to bed, I feel great. And then I wake up and I don't, like, I feel good. And then, like, I have my coffee and then I'm awake. And then I don't know if it's like, I have to like build back up to like feeling great. Like, I think it might just be that I get anxiety about working out, because I really don't want to work out. I think that might just be what it is. Like, but as soon as I get that done and then I have lunch and then I'm past that, then I'm like, man, life is so great, you know? But it's like, well, what if I talk myself out of working out? Then I'm like really like missing out because it's like right there for the taking and it's so easy to back out of it, you know? But like I could go do yoga right now and feel amazing in an hour, or I can like talk myself out of it and like, yeah, it'll be okay. But like, I know that I cheated myself. You know what I mean? Like it comes down to that and it's like, but yeah, man. And in all seriousness, man, just getting through each day, man, that's why they call it one day at a time, you know?
Yep.
I mean,
Right.
it's that simple, you know? So.
Yeah, I mean, I love that because I've talked about before. You know, the future is just an idea, right? It's a construct. As soon as the future gets here, it's the present. So if for example, like you're saying, if we're worrying so much about tomorrow, where we're not being present today, getting through today, then there won't, you know, tomorrow isn't there yet. You know, it's like you said, it's just today is the day, right? Today is all we have, is all you have. So if you can get through that, you know, if you can get through today, tomorrow will be there, right? So. With it, you know, so I love that. Do you have any? I know we're at about an hour here. So Curtis, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I just wanted to thank Duane again for coming on and, you know, taking the time to come chat with us. And Chris,
well, thank you both for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate you guys reaching out. And hopefully, I added something to the conversation and
I totally did.
had some laughs. And Curtis, don't be a stranger, man. I'm in the same state as you, man. So
yeah, I'll come down
and want to cruise down and go for a run on the beach or something, man. Holler at me.
Yeah,
you know, Duane, I'm going to be down in Florida next week too. So we could all three do a run on the beach, depending which beach that is.
Okay, well, it's a big state, but you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I know where he is. I don't know where you are. So
yeah, I'm around. I'm not disclosing exactly.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to give the address. Yeah.
No, but yeah, man, good to see you all, and I'll see you in person soon, whether it's here in LA.
Yeah, for sure. I'll catch up with you.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right.
Well, thanks a lot, Duane. Well, I'm Chris with Duane and Curtis. Just remind everybody to stay grateful, and if you're in a moment, a sobriety moment, you know, reach out to a friend or ask find some things you're grateful for. Maybe help you think of something else in the moment and get through the day. So, thanks for staying with us, guys, and we are out.
Cool.
Yeah, that was.